back at Scotch Test Dummies. What are we bringing, Bruno?
We got us Big Peat and Rock Oyster from Douglas Laing.
And some hats. And you know what we're going to do?
We're going to test it.
We're going to test it! So, I'm Bart. He's Scott. We're wearing goofy hats. We do that on occasion. It's visually whimsy. It's a visual
whimsy.
Visually.
Whimsical. It's visual whimsical.
It's whimsically visual. How about that?
Yes.
Kind of like the art on, first of all, I'm digging the art on the Big Peat. So,
Douglas Laing is I hate to refer to Compass Box. We're talking blends. Compass Box is another blender.
Right.
Douglas Laing, these are blends.
Yes.
But the marketing, the packaging and stuff that they're coming up
Wonderful.
with. Yeah, it's wonderful. It reminds me of Compass Box. Not to compare them.
Wow, very clear, very light. I'm pouring for you. You wanted that?
You've got Big Peat. So, this is a continuation of last week's episode when we reviewed Timorous Beastie and Scallywag. Now, the thing is, these four blends from Douglas Laing just showed up in our area. And I think they just started coming into Kansas, and I don't think it's been that long that they've been available in the U.S.
I've got the one to pour for you here. Right. Keep talking, because you met the rep.
So I'm in our liquor store where we're semi-known.
No, we're famous there.
And all of a sudden, on the shelf is the Big Peat, is the Rock Oyster.
Well, let's be honest. When we walk in, I feel a little bit like Norman Cheers.
Yeah.
And they're like, hey, Dummies! And then there's people in there that get a little nervous that are buying wine. And they're like, who are these guys?
What the hell does that mean?
Yeah. And we make a big splash when we come in. I'm high-fiving people when I come in there.
Dude.
What?
That is like twice. You don't, yeah.
Sorry. Here, pour it in. I didn't know. I poured him too much. He's mad at me. I apologize. Drink responsibly.
Well, we just filmed the other two.
Yes, we did. Maybe that's why I'm pouring it.
I
First
got
of
a lot
all,
of the Big Peat. No.
Yes, you do.
Okay, so let me finish.
Finish.
So I'm in the store. If you tuned in last week, all four of these all of a sudden showed up on the shelf. I'm like, oh, you got the Douglas Laings in. We're gonna have to take a look at those. It just so happens at that very moment, the rep from the distributor is in the store.
Fate.
He's like, oh, you're one of the Dummies. I just heard about you guys. He had the Rock Oyster. He goes, come try a sample of it. I said, this is great. I said, you gotta get these to us.
Bam. We want to review them.
And I don't remember if I said that or if he said, hey, I can give these to you if you want to review them. One of the two. But
something happened.
He said, I got all four of them opened up. I got open bottles. You can take them and review them.
Boom. We're doing it.
So, and full disclosure, we didn't buy these.
Not purchased.
And not provided by Douglas Laing, though, either.
We got to give them back.
The distributor.
Right.
So the more they sell, the more money they make, I guess.
Whatever. But here's the deal. When these came to us, there wasn't much left. So what we decided to do was almost go a little old school for the Dummies. What we do now is we generally purchase. Sometimes we get something sent to us. But what we will do is I'll have it for a while. I'll test it. I'll take notes. I'll sip it slow, make my notes, send it to him. He does the same. It hits the shelf, and it goes on our to-film list. In the old days, we used to open them new, having never tried them except in front of the audience. Zip open the bottle, try it, and experience. That's good. We've had some people say they liked it. The problem was sometimes things open up later. We were on a time crunch, so you couldn't really sometimes work through all the notes.
We were trying to open it up, nose it, and taste it in 10 to 12 minutes.
Bingo. And so we decided to do a lot of note taking. However, these we haven't had. Now, you had the Rock Oyster.
I sampled it. I didn't take notes on it.
Right, but he didn't take notes. He sampled it in the store. But you haven't tried any of these.
No.
And
well, that's this one, the Rock Oyster.
Oh, sorry, you got the Rock Oyster.
Yeah.
The last set we hadn't tried. So I can smell the Big Peat. We haven't tried these yet. So you're going to experience as we do. And I like that every once in a while.
Well, start with, okay, you poured the Big Peat in the Scotch Test Dummies blend, Karen.
Yes.
Or in this one.
It's in the Scotch Test Dummies, and I immediately covered them for both of us because I could get the strong whiffs of peat.
You don't want to go to. Let's don't go to that one first. Let's do the Rock Oyster. The Rock Oyster. Okay. From last week's episodes, the Scallywag is a blend of Speysides with a sherry influence. The Timoris Beastie is a blend of Highlands.
Speak it.
The Rock Oyster is a blend of maritime malts. So, in this one, including those distilled on the rightly esteemed islands of Isla, Jura, Arran, and Orkney. So, and I remember from my tasting, when I sat down with this, I was like, well, there's salt on the nose.
Really?
So, now look at the Big Peat and tell me what are they pulling from there, do they say?
First of all, this is the first time I'm going to tell you it's a touchable can. All right, this man's beard and hair are kind of like embossed or somehow painted on. I don't know. You can feel it. And I'm wondering what's hitting him. Is that the wind hitting him? Is that the massive peat that's just blowing him away? Is he puckering? So. What's going on? But the wind is blowing.
I think he's got smacked by the peat.
By the peat. He's been smacked by the peat. So I'm digging in the marketing.
Now, what I briefly started to mention in last week's episode is they do a Christmas edition of the Big Peat every year. I think it's cask strength.
Did they put a little Santa hat on it?
Yes.
Oh, you're kidding me.
No.
I didn't know. You're serious?
Yeah.
They put a Santa hat on.
Uh-huh.
Huh.
I think so. I'm pretty sure.
You guys are in my mind. You guys are. That's like alien possession.
Let's look it up. Let's look it up right quick.
Wow. I don't. While you're looking it up,
look it up
I'm
there
going
and
to
see if
talk
you
about
can
this.
find out where that's.
Well, I'm going to talk about it while you look it up. So what they say is right off the bat. Historically, we could call this, whisper it, a vatted malt. All right. It may be blonde, but it has a big peat kick. In other words, it's going to be light. It usually means it hasn't spent as much time in the bottle or in the barrel. Sorry. And a vatted malt. This is where sometimes the complexity gets lost on me. Oh boy, I shouldn't even go into it. But vatted means that, I'm not even going to explain it because I'll miss it and you guys will yell at me. Trust me, Mark Gillespie could explain a vatted malt. I will misstep and stumble. What exactly, you may ask, is a vatted malt? Or I could read the marketing and I'll tell you. It's what the Scotch whiskey industry has historically called a marriage of only malts. In other words, there's no grain spirits in there. This is only going to be a bunch of different single malts, which they now call vatted malts, blended together. With no, well, here you go, with no grain whiskey whatsoever. There is, it's a whole Santa.
That was last year's.
He's in a hole and he's got on a kilt.
Oh, he does, yeah.
Yeah, he's wearing a kilt. He's in front of a fire.
And it is cask strength. Last year's was at 54.6%.
Holy moly, I got to get some
or maybe that. You know what? This is the 2016.
Is he sitting?
That's this year's edition.
Oh, and it's got a barbershop top on it.
Yep.
Is he sitting under mistletoe?
That's the candy stripe, isn't it?
Candy stripe.
The red and white.
Love it.
Candy stripe.
Back to the can here. At a punchy 40 parts per million, phenol parts per million, this small batch bottling carries a big peat, and then they say phenolic, beachy, oceanic, slightly ashy selection of malts. I don't want to get too much into that because we're going to show it. They call it lusty and robust. Isla malt selected for Big Peat with the fact that no chill filtration takes place, which means you put a drop of water in there, it clouds up on you. What am I looking for?
You were gonna. I said see if it says on there what distilleries this comes from.
Hold on.
You've gotten sidetracked.
Oh, I got excited. Once again, I got excited. You will detect a massive amplification of its sweet peat, sooty chimneys, creosoted beached huts. Wow. Tarry ropes, qualities on the nose. These are particularly appreciated. I don't see where it's naming an individual distillery whatsoever.
Okay. I'm going to tell you, 2016 Christmas edition.
Yes.
It says right on the packaging, it's from Ardbeg.
Oh.
Kalila.
Dirty talk.
Bowmore.
Oh, really?
Port Ellen.
Wow.
And the rest, it says.
The rest.
The rest
of it. A little hint of mystery. All right. Anything that says Anything called Big Peat has my attention.
Now, if I didn't say it, the Christmas edition is cask strength also. It's showing this year's 54.6%. So we will have to look for the Christmas edition. But
Well,
you
yes.
should get that online. Probably order it right
Need
now.
to get it if it doesn't come in here.
Okay.
I believe you know a distributor. You need to make sure they deliver it to our local store.
Or you're
So-
going to want a bottle.
Yes.
You're not going to want.
No, I'm saying
open one
deliver
that
it.
they've ran around and
No,
tasted.
deliver it to the store. Have them hold it. I'll buy it. Unless that one's crazy priced, I'll probably still buy it.
Rock Oyster.
Wow.
Man, I tell you what, it is salt water.
Yeah, I get a brine. Wow.
And again, this one is from this one's Maritime Distilleries only. So Isla, Jura, Arran, and Orkney.
Beautiful. Like the way you talk.
A citrus sweetness.
Yes. Brine and citrus. Crisp. Smells refreshing. Smells clean. Smells brisk. Wow.
Very smooth. 46.8%. There's a slight bit of peat. There's saltiness, a sugar, and a citrus sweetness.
Wow. You're right, there's a bit of peat. A little bit of grain or maltiness.
Like I said, that's really my level of peat. And I've warmed up to strong peats,
Yeah.
but when you take something and you take a sherry sweetness or you take a citrus sweetness and you put just this amount of peat in there with it,
Okay. Yeah.
delicious.
Yeah. Because it goes peat, goes grain or maltiness, goes vanilla, goes cream, and then I get a nice mouth coating, and then it disappears. But it doesn't linger, just fades away. Wow.
Now you were saying it goes here, it goes here, it goes. You had peat at the front. I don't know if you were saying in what order you get it. I get the peat at the tail end. I get the saltiness, I get the citrus, I get the sweetness, and it moves into the peat.
I get salty, I get peat, and then that's when I'm getting the grain, the cereal malt, and then that is when I get the vanillas
Vanilla, cream.
and the creams, and a nice astringentness. It's a dry. Think of a dry wine. It kind of gives you that dryness on the cheek.
46.8% on the Rock Oyster. I'm
Yeah,
going to add a drop of water. I
touch as
haven't
well.
yet. Actually, another drop on top of that.
Just give me one drop in here. That is delicious.
And I'm going to finish this one. I know when we did last week, so I kind of went back and forth between the two.
Yeah.
I'm going to
touch
before
the
I
peat
go
last.
to
Yeah.
the Peat,
Yeah.
to the Big Peat. I'm going to finish the
Big
Rock
Peat
Oyster.
stands alone, baby. You know
Keep
what?
that in mind if you're doing a tasting. And we've addressed this. If you're doing a tasting and you have a peated Scotch or peated whiskey, make that the last one that you do.
Yeah, because it's usually predominant. It's going to dominate the palate. Some
Yeah.
people aren't going to like it.
It's like
gonna
a
be
Spartan.
too strong.
It moves it. It takes over all the other taste buds. That's what I say.
Like a Spartan. You're but a farmer.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
What is your trade? Carpentry, farming, tool making. We are but warriors. Wow, not really. I wear funky hats.
A little bit of clove, but predominantly salt transitions with a sweetness into a slight hint of peat.
So, well, you've heard my order. I think the most interesting thing is when I'm done, the dryness in the cheeks right in the center. Again, that's called astringent. Leaves my mouth and my tongue kind of dry. And then I still have a little bit, my lingering flavor is of a cereal maltedness. A toasted nut. Maybe even a walnut. But it's so dry that when I finish this, I'm going to take a little bit of water before I go to the peat. Let me finish this. Once again, wonderfully distinct.
Hand me a cracker.
Okay?
Just to cleanse my palate here.
No, you do.
Rock Oyster is delicious. And we're getting ready to move into the Big Peat, so I want to make sure my palate is ready for those Spartans moving in. And this one, 46% also. Now, I don't know on the scale of some of the others. This says it's a big feisty 40 parts per million. I know the Brooklotti Octomore is between 160 and 200 parts per
It
million.
seemed like 229, I thought.
But to me, that doesn't necessarily mean we did the Octomore 6.1, I think, and I didn't think it was as peaty as some other stuff. So I mean, just because it's saying there's more parts per million, I don't know that. It parlays into
the Octomore
taste.
that we had. The smoke wasn't so much of an explosion in your mouth; it was almost like a weightedness of the spirit itself. Because I actually told you, the Port Charlotte, up from the bowels of hell. No, but I told you it was much more of like an Ardbeg will give me more smoke on the forefront, or a Brooklotti Port Charlotte. I know there's not as much parts per million or phenol per million. I don't know. I'm going to touch into this. Let me cleanse this.
ppm is parts per million.
It's phenol.
But phenol is what it's referring to.
Well, they talk about phenol parts per million. Yeah.
So it's ppm.
ppm is parts per million, I think.
Yeah.
Right. But it's how many phenols or whatever.
Now, when I removed my coin cover,
mine's been safely on.
It doesn't seem as strong as a straight up 10-year Lefroy or this 10-year Ardbeg.
Okay, hold on. It's like a dream here. All right.
There is peat in there.
I can tell you when I poured it, there's peat in there because I picked it up. Sorry, I'm interrupting.
Well, no, even me. But when we poured Ardbeg or Lefroy, it's like you can really smell it. This one you got some whiffs of when you were pouring it.
Right. When we did our top 2015 whiskeys, you could smell what my number one was.
To me, this smells more aged peat. 12, 15, 18-year peat. If you ask me.
Okay. I'm going to pop it on the cover on and off. I'm getting an earthy warmth of peat. It's the peat is strong. It's more of a typical. It's not an ashtray peat. It's definitely that earthy warmth.
Well, not to compare it again to Compass Box, but the Peat Monster. It's really a smooth, mild, mellow citrus.
You're asking for a future versus.
Yeah, well,
Compass
that's a good
Box.
one.
Yeah.
Compass Box Peat Monster versus Douglas Laing's Big Peat.
That'd be a beautiful versus. You're speaking my language. Wow. I'm doing my cover again.
Saltiness, there's a brininess.
Okay, brine, I get a clay. Again, I'm bringing up freshly turned earth.
And our colors, we didn't compare our colors. Even looking in the bottle, the Rock Oyster is very pale, and so is the Big Peat is probably even a shade paler than the Rock Oyster.
Yep. Don't let that scare you away. That means they're not adding colorant.
Right.
Wow.
Bart gets scared away easy.
I'm like a rock, baby. I get a little hint of the body putty, which I've referenced with my peats in the past. A little bit of body Bondo. Think of that pink Bondo when you're using it. Wow. You ready? Because I'm going to taste it when you're talking.
Okay. Now that Ardbeg, that Lefroy peat is coming out on the palate. Maybe it's not there on the nose, but it's gentle. It's in there. It's not overpowering. There is a fruit sweetness in there with it. Sugar sweetness, maybe. You get that Lefroy or that Ardbeg on the palate.
Yeah. To me, it leans Ardbeg, and then it's got that earthiness, that ashtrayness, but the sweetness is of like a cherry pipe tobacco. Is where I'm getting it.
I don't know about cherry. Pipe tobacco, I would agree with.
I don't know why I said cherry pipe tobacco. That's just what came to mind. Pipe tobacco all the way. I've referenced some of you. My grandfather, before he quit smoking altogether, went to a pipe, and this is that pipe tobacco smoke. Wow.
That is delicious.
Yeah. The smoke doesn't trail on and on, which is unique to me. I'm used to a peat extending out sometimes up to a minute in an aftertaste. This aftertaste is there, feathers away, wonderfully tobacco-ish, and then subtle, and then gone. A little bit dry at the end. Lovely. Just lovely. Wow. I gotta put some water in there.
Okay, from the packaging, you will detect a massive amplification of its sweet peat, sooty chimneys, creosoted beech nuts, and terry ropes
Yeah, I don't know.
on the nose, palate, and finish. I did get some nuts in there, peanuts or something salted, cashews maybe.
Wow. A lot of you know, those that don't, I love the peat. This does not disappoint. I see the creosote that they're talking about. I can smell it. That kind of blends in with the Bondo that I'm used to, but
Now,
wonderful.
I worked on a railroad one summer, college. That was my summer job. Tie gang, replacing ties. Worst job I ever had.
First of all, this is news to me. Never even heard of this.
But
You
the
did
railroad
this.
ties were soaked in creosote.
Yes.
It's a preservative oil,
Right, yeah.
basically. But I don't remember what it smells like.
I'm intrigued. Worst job ever.
Yes.
Just hard manual labor out in the heat.
Uh-huh.
Okay, and you're having to take up the actual iron track, right?
You would have well, for the most part, a machine would come along and remove the spikes out of the old ties.
Okay.
And then a machine would come along and pull the tie out.
Huh.
A new machine would come and put the new tie in.
Hold on. There's a lot of machine work here.
Well,
it doesn't seem like you're doing much.
Machines break down.
Oh.
That's where the tie gang comes into play.
Oh.
So when the machines aren't working, this is what the tie gang's doing.
Oh. So if you got a
So-
great machine that's not breaking down, it's easy money.
Well, yeah, except we would cover 10 to 12 miles in a day walking on foot in June, July, and August.
It's hot.
And you're picking, well, what happened is, so one machine pulls out the tie, well, your plates end up down in the ditch somewhere. So tie gang's gonna go find the plates, bring them up, then put them in place for the next machine that comes around then and put in.
Shoots a spike in.
Now we did have, I can tell you one guy.
Oh no. We're talking an injury.
No,
Oh.
no.
Thought you were doing something nasty.
McGee was his last name, and I want to say Mike.
Mike McGee.
Mike McGee was phenomenal. This was his career. He'd been on worked for the railroad,
Is calling.
and he could come up. We would put the plate in place if the tie machine was broke down, or the spike machine. So he would come up. We'd put the plate in place. He'd come up. He'd put one spike in there, and with one swoop of the sledgehammer,
Wow.
drive that spike all the way into the tie each time, every
Really?
time. Boom! Now, boom! 4 spikes per
Did
plate.
you have to hold it with
No.
your hand? That would have scared me.
No, I'd never
Really?
seen anybody else do that.
Wow. So
Phenomenal.
if he had to go
Phenomenal.
ring the bell at like a carny, he could have done it. He could have swung the hammer. and ding.
There had to be some power in there and accuracy.
Wow.
I'm telling you, because most of us, you
Yeah.
tap it and then you'd be like, dink,
Right.
ka-tink, like 4 or 5, maybe 6 swings per spike.
And it probably looked effortless.
Yeah, with him, yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. I'm telling you, whoop,
Yeah.
whoop, whoop,
Yeah,
four
like
times
he's
each
putting
one.
it in butter.
Each plate, 2 plates per tie.
I never knew this about you. 21 years.
Worst
and
job
I didn't know
ever.
You were a railroad man. This is in high school?
No, I was I think a junior in college.
Oh, wow.
It was one of my summertime jobs.
I bet you got a tan.
Didn't quit though. Never quit a job.
Hey, don't quit.
Worked it for the summer.
I got fired once from a dishwashing job. There was a woman involved. No,
Boss.
No. It was at a restaurant. She was the sous chef. That's a whole nother story. I got fired.
Okay.
I was 17. Youthful lad. This is phenomenal. You know what? Yeah, I know. We're way over on time.
Not bad because we're
I'm
doing
pouring
two,
more.
but I'm just keeping you. I want you to here.
Oh, I'm still pouring more. You can't.
I love it now. I've warmed up to the pizza. I love this. This really is delicious.
Do you think the
But
rep
we-
would want that little back?
Are we gonna do more?
No, I'm just wanted to drink more before it went away. I love this. This is good.
Okay, we
Actually,
were both. We
That's the chupacabra. We have to have protection. Is it noon?
it's 12:30.
Hold on. Plots!
Hey,
Plots!
knock it off. Get in bed.
Go lie down!
Kennel.
Get up!
Hey.
Hey! Enough said.
Okay.
All right, continue.
So last week's episode with the Timorous Beastie and the Scallywag, both well done. Again, with these two just sitting down with what samples we've had. I hate to score these. I'd like to spend some more time with them. Okay, so I hate to score these on what we've had and what time we've spent with it. They're both well done. But now let's just move into, and even we had talked about if stuff was provided to us and doing the Is It Worth It segment. But I'll tell you, these are both of the 4 Douglas Langs that we had. 2 of them were in the $60 range. 2 of them were in the $70 range.
Yeah.
I don't remember which or which.
Right. We were
So say $60 to $70 range on both of these, and I will tell you, I think I would not feel bad if I bought either one of these, and I would buy them again.
Yes. Yeah. When we sat down, again, we hadn't tried these, although you'd had this one. We talked about the way we were doing this, the rep had given us, we haven't tried it, let's not score it, and let's not do the is it worth it statement. It's worth it, brother. If you get a chance, go get these. I'm telling you, it's worth it.
Take it with a grain of salt if you want to, or take it with a grain of rock oyster, because it's kind of salty and maritime-y.
It's worth it.
But yeah, I'm honest when I'm telling you, I would not feel bad if I bought either one of these.
No, I'm amazed. I figured, the 2 we had last week, the 2 this week, I figured, let's be honest, I figured I was going to like the peat. I was like, I'll probably like the peat. I thought that there was going to be at least one in the range that I was going to be like, There was not. These are good. I'm going to return to when you were blending a skilled, good blend. It really should be phenomenal, and these are. They're delicious. They're quality. Well married.
Well done. A+.
Scotch it. You Scotch gods.
Cilantro. Dummies.
Dummies.